Hello, friends. Welcome to another crafty challenge. Is that what we are calling these things? Another time where we dive deep into one of the projects that we made during Sublimation Camp 2024. Today we have our good friend Jenn Crookston with us. She's going to be teaching us how to make sublimation hats.
And when you say teach, I feel like you guys know, so you'll be teaching just as much as I will. But hi, I'm Jen. I'm really excited to be here. A little bit scared. It'll be great.
These things are very chill. We do these once a month where we kind of go through, it's not even a deep dive. I said deep dive, but we're going to back up. This is like a shallow dive into something we learned at Sublimation Camp, just to give you an idea of what actually exists in Sublimation Camp. We know that a lot of you already have your all access passes, but you then forget to go back in and do things. So these are our friendly reminder of some of the things you can learn. And we are really excited today. Angie's a little blurry. She said she didn't have time to reboot the whole internet before we got started. So
just naturally blurry today. That's okay. They can watch one of you make the hat. But I did want to say, if you don't have your all access pass, you can get it still. Sublimationcamp.com. We do have a coupon code. It's GetCrafty3, and that's through August 6th. And you can get $20 off that all access pass if you like what you see, like the tutorial, you like the files we use. You can get those all with that all access pass.
Yeah. And if you are tuning in, tell us where you're from. This should be on all three of our channels. So tell us what channel you're watching on, where you're from. Have you ever made a hat? We would be interested to know. And Jen, you want to tell us what we need to make this project?
Yes. And I will say that before we start might be a really good time to leave your questions so that while we're making them, we can make sure and address those questions if it has to do with the making process. But
it could even not have to do with the making process.
True.
You can ask me what my favorite salad is. I don't know.
Oh, I'd be interested to know that. Anyway,
I don't know if I have a favorite salad, honestly. Don't ask me that question.
Okay, so what you're going to need is a sublimation hat. And there are a lot of options out there. So this is the Cricut like trucker hat. This is the Cricut ball cap. And then, I mean, there's others like Hobby Lobby has sublimation, like kind of the foamy type ones, but you do want to make sure that it is a hat that has polyester so that it works with sublimation. I've pre-cut everything. So I have a tiny little piece of butcher paper and my sublimation print. Remember, sublimation print, sublimation ink on sublimation paper, printed from a sublimation printer, not just your normal printer. You are going to want some heat resistant tape. This is the strong grip tape for the hats. I actually just tried making one without the strong grip tape and it just like peeled off while I was pressing it. So you do want strong grip tape, a lint roller, and of course, a hat press. I am using the Cricut hat press. If you have the hat press, it comes with the hat form, and Angie's using a different press. Right, Angie?
I am. So this is the HTV Ronk hat press. I do have a full video up on it on my YouTube channel. The hat form is going to be different. I'm going to be using it. The hat press itself is a little different, and I can set a time and temperature on mine where like the Cricut hat press, you have to choose between 3 different settings or download an app. And I am using 390 degrees for 70 seconds for my time and temperature. Someone already asked about the time and temperature over in the comments. So for Infeasible Ink or sublimation, I would just go to the Cricut Heat Guide. That's what I would do. Pick hat and Infeasible Ink, and it'll tell you the time and temperature to use.
Yeah, so it's called the Cricut Heat is the app for the hat press. If you have the Cricut hat press, you cannot set the time and temperature. You can just pick, if you have like the Easy Press Mini, it's like that. You just have the 3 different settings. But within the app, you select like what you're pressing on, all that kind of stuff. And it tells you the time. And so it has it set at 400 degrees for, I think, 60 seconds. And so Angie just upped hers a little bit because her temperature goes to, you said 390, right, Angie? I think that's what you said. Yeah. So, and so before we really get in, do we want to make the hats first, or do we want to talk about some of the different images that are available in?
I say let's talk about images.
Okay. All right. So I taught the class in Sublimation Camp for making hats, sublimation hats, and that is definitely more of a deep dive. So I have the 2 hats that I made. and they're backwards, so sorry about that. But this is one design that you can get in Sublimation Camp, and it's just cute. It says Mama, has the cute little checker background. And then this is like my cautionary tale image. I feel like it's a really cute image, but it's not very cute on a hat because with the Cricut hat press, your max like height is 2¼ inches. And there's just a lot going on and you can't really see it. And so I thought it would be cute, but then when I had to resize it to actually work on the hat, it wasn't as cute. It would be a cute design on a t-shirt. You probably don't even know what it says. It says no rain, no flowers. But you can get both of those images in Sublimation Camp. And then I am using a couple of Corey's images for today. So I made this hat already. That's really cute. And then this is the other image that I'm using that you can also get in Sublimation Camp.
I am going to attempt to make a slightly larger image than 2¼ because I feel like it's too small. And I feel like, sorry, my Sawgrass is deciding to do its update right now. It's right in the middle of a video, so it's being very loud. So I feel like this is just a really huge like space on these trucker hats. So I went with a slightly larger image, and this could go very wrong, but we'll see.
So I will tell you,
one of Angie's images. It says "Living That Crafty Life" or "Crafter Life."
So cute. I will tell you that I had, when I was doing this image, just so that you're prepared before you start. When I was making the hats for Sublimation Camp, I made 3 hats before I realized that whatever setting I had on my printer wasn't like, it was printing it slightly larger than what I thought I had it set at. And so it did really well everywhere except for like right here. Not on this one, but like right here.
I'm gonna reprint my image. I'm just gonna reprint it.
And right here. Well, I was just gonna tell you, I think the biggest thing is making sure you're still like the distance away from the seam here where the hat and the bill connect. Because I feel like that was maybe what was getting in the way of like pressing down because it came down farther. It was like down in there.
Gotcha.
So
I'm gonna reprint my image because that's the type of thing we're doing today. Really chill. Why not?
So I will just say, if you're pressing sublimation, the biggest thing is tape it into place really well. And I like to tape it so that you can peel back just a little bit. So like make sure that you have like tape on each end, maybe the top and the bottom and stuff, so that you can peel it back and peek without removing one piece of tape, so that then you can lay it back down if you need to. I actually did have to on this one because I apparently wasn't pressing very well up in the upper corner of the butterfly wing and was able to lay it back down, and then it was fine. So even with 2¼ inches, I feel like you still have to make sure you're moving it like up and down and side to side.
So I'm going to use these tropical images again in Sublimation Camp. These were from Corey, All Access Baskets, these. So what I'm going to say is this HTV runt press, while I love a lot of the features, it's a little bit skinnier than the Cricut hat press. So what I did on the samples I've already made with this was just sort of press in one place, move, press in the other place, or you can like move while you're pressing it and press it for a longer time. But again, that peak test is probably your best bet. Like peak, put it back down, press in another area. So even though these images are super small, I guess you could say that the press is probably not going to cover the whole thing at once. So that's the only downfall, one of the downfalls, but pros and cons of this press versus the Cricut hat press.
All right. So while Corey's getting her image, I am going to say, I want to know, Corey and Angie, I don't know if you guys do. Are you guys hat wearers?
I am a hat wearer in the summer when I'm specifically in the sun.
Specifically.
That's all for me. And I am on
I
the
love
boat. Specifically, I have a hat on at all times. Otherwise, probably not.
But yeah, you look super cute in hats. I feel like I look like a doofus.
Oh, we used to laugh. Like I really kind of have to do my hair to wear a hat because I have a picture and I look like Axl Rose in a hat, and it wasn't cute. It's the opposite of cute for me, but I do love them and I wear them all the time. So it's fun. This is the first hat that I've made with the Cricut Gray. I think I own like 15 of them or something like that. I am a fan of the trucker hats. And so I always tend to go that way. I actually like the fit of this more than I thought. It looks very like straight build when you
See, I like the fitted way more than I like a trucker hat. So I always go the fitted, always.
I have like a Boston Red Sox ball cap that I got, I don't know, at this point, 20 years ago. and I still wear it. That's like the hat I wear if I go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be a fitted hat for me. I feel like the trucker hats make my already large head look bigger. I don't know.
You do have a lot of hair to fit under a hat. Like mine.
Exactly. And then the hat and the head, and it's a lot.
I feel like they're anyway, I am a hat person, so I feel like this is a good tutorial for people who do like to wear hats.
But I do agree. Someone in the comment section was saying the trucker hats don't have that seam down the front. I think it make them a bit easier to sublimate because these fitted ones have this seam, and a lot of times you have to like really press down or press again to get that seam looking good. So
I think one of the things that does help with that is making sure that you have pulled the hat like as tight as you can onto the form. Because I really didn't have much of a problem with it today. Like I feel like it did really well on it. I have some other hats. I feel like on this Cricut one, because they made it specifically for infusible ink, I'm wondering if they paid attention to that because it's really not bulky on it. And I definitely have other ones where you feel the seam. It's almost more like this type of seam on some other hats where it's just bulkier. And so something to think about. I was actually really surprised by how easy this one was and how much I liked it. So,
somebody says Angie is out of focus, and we know she went out of focus right before our video went live.
Is this one better?
No.
Okay. It's the internet.
It's the internet.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
I can't record it right in a second. You just have to listen to me talk.
And then Kay asked what the QR code in Jen's video is for. It's really the whole video. It's so that if you don't have that all access pass, through August 6th, you can get $20 off our all access pass for Sublimation Camp.
And trust me, if you're wanting to learn sublimation, that is definitely the place to start. Like I have learned so much just from watching those videos. Like not even like making along with, but just watching them. I'm like, oh, I remember that, like talking about that and doing that. So they're really
it's funny how much like I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel like I know everything. And then I go to Sublimation Camp and I'm like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I know like people do things and you're like
check for me.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are like testing the boundaries way more.
Oh, hold on. My boys are trying to come into the room. I'm going to mute really fast.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say.
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry. Make sure that if your hat has any type of like inside pieces or anything like that, remove that. This one had two for some reason. And then I'm assuming your hat form is the same, Angie, but for the hat form, the Cricut hat form, you roll out that like inside little kind of sweatband. And then I'm going to put this down just a little bit so maybe you can see. And then you want to just place it on your hat form. My hat form just tried to run away. With that sweatband like turned out around it.
Just realized I need mine tighter, I think.
Yeah, all the way around. I like to tighten it once I do put it on.
Oh, I don't know if I have the grip strength for that.
Form to do it. So you can see like it's flipped out like all the way around. Get it in there really secure. And then depending on the type of hat that you have, you can tighten it. The gray hats do have like an easy Velcro tightening, which is quite nice.
Yeah, the Velcro is nice. These little strappy straps are not so nice.
So this press form is a little bit different. So this has like a plastic bottom, and you put a cover on the top, and you put it sort of on the side.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit different, but still flip that out. Do we want to talk about the walnut?
Oh, yes. If you have the Cricut hat press, the form is filled with walnut shells, which is awesome. It holds the heat really well, does what they need it to do. But I felt like when I bought it, that the allergy warning was not very noticeable from the outside. It was very much like the hat form is wrapped completely separate than the hat press and everything. And it has the warning right on that. But on the exterior of the box, it was on there, but it was like kind of just small text that you could very easily overlook. So if you have a walnut allergy, know that about this. And
I actually have a walnut allergy, but it's only when I eat them. They make my mouth itch. So I'm not going to be eating my hat press, so it's not a problem for me.
That's probably a good idea. It'd be a little crunchy. Okay, so with the Cricut hat press form, you want to stand it up so it does stand up on the end really well. And then lint roll, clean your surface, lint roll it really well. And then depending on what press you're using, mine I think says to preheat for like 7 seconds or something like that. So I'm just going to preheat for a second.
I just hold it up there.
Yeah, I'm like, just press for a second. Nothing too crazy. But then because this is sublimation, you do want to let it cool after you preheat. You don't want to try to lay your image on there while it's hot, or you can risk ghosting some transfer happening before you want it to. And then next, so while I'm waiting for it to cool, so my image Corey created so nicely. It has these little antennas, which is a very simple way to know where the middle of my design is. The body of the bug.
Just for you.
And I know, I felt like it when I was doing it. And so this hat does have a seam right down the top there. So I can easily line my image up. If you don't have an image that is as easy to tell exactly where the center is, then there's some tricks. You can like bend your design backwards, kind of line up the ends, crease right like on the paper. You don't want to crease the sublimation print portion itself. I feel like mine's cool enough. And I am like a get up over the top of it person. So I always have to stand up when I'm doing.
Yeah, this is going to be like all of our faces are going to disappear.
Well, and then the other thing is with the Cricut hat press, I kind of talked about it a little bit. You're supposed to be, I believe it's like 1/4 of an inch up from the seam here on the hat. So just when you're placing your design, make sure that you're not like, if it's larger, you run that risk of it being down there. And then that's where I ran into the problem with it not pressing.
Should put this extra strong tape on some sort of tape dispenser.
Yeah. I tried it
I
in my
have
other
mine
tape
on a little-
dispenser and then I
I
dropped
have
it.
my little office supply deal thing.
Yeah, I need that because this is not
Yeah.
the greatest option that I'm doing here with the scissors. And the...
Yeah. I pre-cut all of mine so that it would be done before I started.
We are lucky that we are here today. You want to tape on all 4 sides, right?
Yes, I would say all 4 sides. And I like when I was doing this hat, because it kind of has that like little curve, I'm kind of a heavy taper. I think that I blame Angie for that.
I am a
Because
heavy
she's
taper.
I'm a heavy
She's
taper as
always
well.
like, in every video, she's like, just tape it down really well. And so then I do. And I am a fan of that. So I'm actually taping down like at the top of both of these wings because they are like up on the edge here. The other thing about, I don't know about your press, Angie, but the other thing that I remember about this one is these trucker hats. Actually, all of these hats have those little holes with the stitching all the way around them. And you can run the hat press over it. It doesn't have like a problem getting over it, but you're not supposed to like try to prep, like you shouldn't cover that area with your design or else it will have a problem. I see that somebody's asking if the strong grip heat tape really makes a difference. It really does.
It really does.
It's the only thing I've ever had to use it for is a hat, but it does make a difference.
And then
Yeah,
somebody asked, is there a way to do it without a hat form?
Yeah. So sorry, Angie, what were you saying?
Go ahead.
Okay. So in Sublimation Camp, I actually do show it's more difficult. I actually also made a hat using the Easy Press Mini and rolled up a bunch of towels. Like you kind of want to like roll them and then coil them and shove them inside. It's a little bit more difficult. And I can't tell you how many towels you might need because depending on the thickness of your towel, the size of your hat, how long your towel is, all that kind of stuff. But you can see how like firm. I was like, what are you doing?
I'm moving my heat press to the other side because I'm right-handed.
Gotcha. How firm like the hat is, like it's really tight on this. So if you're using towels, you're going to want to do that same thing. You're going to want to make sure that it's pulled really nice and tight.
There
But it
are
is doable.
also there are forms for like sewing. I don't even know what they're called, but different forms for sewing. And I bought a pack of those.
Hams.
Sewing hams. I bought a pack of them, like different sizes and shapes. And I found like when I used 2 of those, it gave me a pretty good surface to press on. So I like use that when I use my Easy Press Mini.
Okay. All right,
And
are
you
we
can
ready?
also do this. Somebody had mentioned that she just does it with HTV, like making hats with HTV. You can totally make a hat with this process using HTV. Obviously, your settings will be different. And honestly, it's nice because you're like, oh, it's peeling up. Just put it right back down. I feel like it's a little safer. Although it's
This is
okay
a little
with-
bit dusty, but I made this hat
Yeah.
with HTV. This is an HTV hat. That's pretty
cute.
fun. So, okay. So I have my hat. So the hat, the Heat app, the Cricut Heat app is actually kind of nice because like once you send it, you don't have to like keep resending it. So you don't have to like mess with it. So I've already sent it over. My time and temperature is right. So I'm just going to put my press on here and then press the play button and it will count down the time.
All right.
So I don't know about yours, Angie. I know the Cricut hat press says you're supposed to move it continually. You don't hold it in one spot.
So
For
I'm
the
going to
whole
be honest, like, because I moved the Cricut hat press, ever since I have this one, I move it.
It just feels right.
It feels like the right thing to do.
Agree. Agree. And you'll see steam. That's okay.
Smells like sublimation, baby.
It does. Which is hopefully slightly better than Teen Spirit.
Now, the only thing, another con of this HTV Ront thing, it has buttons on the top.
Oh.
The buttons are here. So if I press from the top and try to give pressure, I hit the buttons every time and then it stops the countdown. So I press from like inside the handle and it's a little awkward.
I'm giving mine a little extra time because I feel like every time I mess it up, every time I do this. So
I can already see, I don't know if you guys can tell, like I can already see my print coming through. I feel like that is always a good indication that it actually did heat
we're
up.
doing things.
Yep, that ink is doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh, we didn't do any butcher paper, guys.
Oh, I put mine
No,
on
I
there.
did. I taped mine on.
I did
You,
not
like,
do that.
stressed
You
me
guys
out.
like
I was
missed that step. I did not get the step.
We just didn't talk about it. We were talking about something else. I mine
See,
on.
I'm
we were
just like a
answering about
regular crafter here.
I'm a paper girl. Go ahead and talk about it.
So yes, I did add, sorry, I did not talk about it. I did add the butcher paper. So the butcher paper's job, in case you're new to sublimation, is it protects your heat source from any ink bleed through. So I was telling you about how I could already see. Let me see if I can peel off just the butcher paper without peeling the tape from the other. Well, it's going to peel that piece off. But my butcher paper did not have much transfer, but you can see, maybe you can see, there's like a little bit on here where the darker inks are. And that you just don't want to get sublimation ink onto your press. It's not always a big deal. Like it doesn't always happen.
Yeah,
but
I
it
think
can.
I'm gonna be okay. I used a really high quality sublimation paper, and I don't
Yes.
see a lot of bleed through. So
Okay, so now I'm gonna. I don't know why. Do you guys know why the Cricut hat press says, like the heat app says to remove it cool? I don't feel like I've ever removed sublimation.
I think if it's too hot, you can have that ghosting problem.
Okay, so here you can see on mine, I didn't get up in that corner, but because I taped it really well, I can just press that back down and get in that corner. I'm going to check this other corner as well. I think that's my like one frustration with this hat press is like they have like that maximum don't be bigger than this size, and then I stay within that size and it still doesn't feel like it
Yeah, I think mine's probably good.
presses the whole
Mine is
thing really
good, but I pressed twice because the hat press is a little smaller. So I pressed at the bottom and then I pressed it again at the top. So mine looks good, but I did do twice.
well. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just gonna focus some attention up here at the top.
So
Mine looks-
Jerry said, I feel slightly smart knowing ham. I can never remember what they're called.
I just remembered, I was like, I know it's something really not crafty, like,
So
you know.
I ended up having like a nice little. Oh my gosh, sorry, my family's opening the garage door below me. You've not seen my husband came in, my kids came in.
I did see you like look one time like,
So no, stop. I love you very. So I ended up having. I mean, I think this turned out good. I have a little bit of ghosting at the bottom, which I'm kind of bummed about. But my overall image looks good.
well, that's cute.
I can do this.
Wrong
Looks like-
person.
I got you.
Oops, so you can see I have just this like little bit of ghosting at
Oh,
the
I
bottom.
just under the L.
But I do have like a nice square. Should I have torn around the edge, do we think?
I don't know. I haven't done one of the foamy kind because is that like the Hobby Lobby kind of foam
Yeah.
style one?
This is an
I
Amazon.
haven't done one of those yet, so I'm not sure why it would do that, but maybe that would help.
You could like use your Easy Press Mini and just like go around in circles, right? Like
And I
where
think
the-
I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do is just turn down the heat on my hat press so that it's not sublimation hot,
try to go over it.
and then go over it once it's kind of at a better temperature.
See, you can press again. Sorry. You
Go
can
ahead.
press again. Look how cute.
Oh, that turned cute.
Good job with the designs, Corey.
Ooh, my head is way bigger than the
Am I
hat.
still blurry? I guess I am.
Yeah. You're
Alright.
gonna have to like post a picture of it on social so we can all see it.
It looks like a very blurry panda, and I know I made no pandas, so
Is it a tiger?
Toucan, so
Oh, do you say it's a toucan?
yeah. And
Not a tiger.
gotta fix the sweat part.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I can
It'd
tighten
be
that
helpful
one more.
Put that back in.
Yeah, I feel like I look like a doofus with a hat on.
You look cute.
You're cute.
No
How's it-
doofuses. I think you need to tighten it a little bit more so it doesn't come down so far on your.
This is the size of my head. It is tight. Sit it up higher.
Don't do that. That's like when they give like athletes like the hats for like winning whatever,
And they just
have,
set it
like,
on
all
top
the-
of
and
their
they just like
hair.
set it on top because some of them really do have like larger heads than the hats are, and then they have their hair that's just like some of them have really a lot of hair and it doesn't fit. There you go. So easy. Like I feel like hats and sublimation with the right tools, of course, like it's not nearly as easy if you're trying to use a different type of press or whatever. Like I think when the Easy Press first came out, I tried making a hat with like the 9x9 Easy Press with just vinyl because I think that was even like pre-infusible ink, and like it's bulky, it's hard, it's not. And then the other heat presses that I've seen that have like the different attachments and stuff, like the process of setting it up, it was like, yeah, I'm probably not ever.
Yeah,
gonna
and she has the. Do you still have it? The big hat press.
I do. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a situation.
It's a lot.
And I always feel like the convenience of having like one thing that you can like swap out and do, for me, I'm just like, give me a different thing for each thing and then I'll probably use it. But if I have to like change it, it's unlikely that that's going to happen.
I
Because
understand that.
I'm all about ease and quick. And it's like, this is really fast. Like I really was like really, when it came out, I was really excited about it. And I feel like it works really well.
I feel like it works pretty well. Does anybody have any more questions while we sit here in our hats?
In our hats and showing how cute they are.
Yep.
I could do like a hat fashion show.
Just try on different hats. We can make some more hats.
I don't have any more hats here.
Well, I have some more hats and more images, but they're
Yeah,
probably
you got a
all
whole sheet of
updated.
images. I made like my trial one and then this one, and those were the only images I printed out.
Oh, talk about let's look at the difference between the white and the gray.
Oh,
on
yes.
that. Can you tell?
Yes.
I'm going to actually try and get the square out of my hat.
Yep.
Good. We'll watch you. Okay. So, as you may or may not know, depending on your sublimation knowledge, sublimation ink is translucent. So, whatever is behind it will show. This image kind of matches this like family of colors. I think this one has a little bit more pale pink, as you can see in it. But for the most part, they're like similar in color. And you can see this one looks less vibrant. You can see a bit of the gray coming through the pink and the yellow. Where on this one, the yellow looks very nice and yellow like it should. The light orange and stuff, like the black really pops. I just feel like that's what you're going to get. That doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with this sublimation print. You're just going to see the color of what's behind it through. And so if this had more white on it, then anything that was white in the design is going to be gray on your finished product.
I feel like
And
the
that applies to
best
everything.
way I've heard it described is like a highlighter. So
Oh,
it's
yes.
So if you highlight on a bright white piece of paper, it's going to look really bright. If you highlight on a darker color, you're not going to be able to see it at all. If you highlight on a color that's not, you will be able to see it, but it's really going to take on the effect of whatever color's underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I set my heat press to that like lowest setting, and I don't know if you can tell, it actually did a pretty good job. I mean, I could work at it more.
Yeah.
I cannot get in front of my screen here, but I feel like it did a really good job of taking off that kind of square. But I think if I did this again, I might rip around the outside because I feel like that would keep it really from having that mark.
Yeah, that's something that I know I'm pretty sure I learned from Angie, was that feathering technique where if you're using a material, polyester really likes to hold the shape of whatever you put on it.
Because it's plastic.
Yeah, like it's gonna, and so to help prevent those, like I feel like you can even see it on this one more than you can see it on this one, but like there is definitely where the paper was like around it. And a way to get rid of that is to use, like Angie said, like the Easy Press Mini. Corey just used her, but just to go around it. You don't want to go over the top of the image if you can avoid it.
I went over the top of the image only because I was using the lowest setting, which is not
hot enough,
high enough heat to resublimate it.
To reactivate your ink. So
somebody asked, where are our hats from? I think mine's from Amazon.
So these are both Cricut. These are the Cricut Infusible Ink blanks, which
that's where mine was from.
Yep, I like them both. This one that I didn't use today because I didn't want to try something new live because that scared me a little bit. This is from Hobby Lobby, and it's like $1.99. But it's a sublimation blank, and I think it's very similar to the one that Corey did today.
Probably.
So it's just like kind of has that, like, it makes me think of a boat. It's like foamy. It would float if you
like neoprene. It feels kind of neoprene-y.
Yeah. And so so you can find them everywhere. You just want to make sure that it says that either it has a high polyester content and is light, or specifically says it's for sublimation.
My guess is that most of them, like most trucker hats, would probably work if you bought a blank trucker hat, just because I can't imagine it being made out of like cotton or linen or something that's not polyester, because it's just a foamy product and you can't make a natural fiber do that. So my guess would be, I mean, obviously check the content settings, but
yeah. So this one is a trucker, and I feel like it feels way more like cotton than like these ones do. It doesn't have like that foam type feel. It's a really, I was shocked really when Cricut came out with them. It's a really high quality hat. Like it feels really nice. It fits well. They hold up well. I've thrown one through the washer. It was fine. Like it's, I just bought the bundle. If you want a deal on them, buy the bundle, and they're pretty inexpensive per hat.
Yeah.
So.
And somebody said the whole copyright issue is confusing to me. Are you just talking about image copyright?
So
yeah, somebody asked.
She was asking about like starting a business. So what I was like, all the questions and came after that. So I was going to say, Maria, we have a podcast called Crafting for Profit Live, all about starting and building your business. You can find episodes on mine or Corey's YouTube channel. Hit the live or hit the podcast tab at the top of the YouTube channel. There's tons of things. And our first episode was about starting a craft business. Or if you like podcasting, then podcast platform, search for Crafting for Profit Live, scroll to our first episode. And I feel like
I think we talked about it in our first episode.
Yeah. And if you really are interested in starting a craft business, you should definitely do a quick binge of all of the episodes so far. Because I feel like in every episode when I listen to it, a lot of times like you retouch on things and it reminds me, that I haven't done something, but also it reminds me that like you will talk about it in a different way where it's like, oh, I didn't even think about how that might apply to that. I think you were saying recently, like when I think about like copyrighted things, obviously, you have your Disney, your Nike, like all of those ones that are something that you would like know, like that's an easy thing to know. But I think it was you, Corey, that was saying that like the word lucky is trademarked because of Lucky Brands. And like, I would have never even like thought about that. And so even with things like that, you have to be careful. And so, so yeah, I think they're great. Like really, there's a reason everybody recommends them when they watch it.
And we have another episode of our podcast, live podcast on Thursday with our guest, Jenn Crookston. It is all Jenn all the time this week.
The week of Jenn.
Full week of Jenn.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about how to kick off a business using heat transfer vinyl. So if you want a way to start a business that doesn't break the bank, this is probably one of those episodes you'll want to listen to. We'll talk all about all sorts of things. I think it's going to be really fun. But yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm really excited
more
about it.
I saw Kathy asked, like, she made some hats and she ruined some, and if there was any way to save them without throwing them out. And I don't know if I have a suggestion.
I think it would depend on how it was ruined. Like if you had a little bit of ghosting, like there is always the option of, which we were going to talk about on Thursday also, but like adding some HTV to the top of it. Like you can do things. The temperature for HTV is so much lower than what you need for sublimation that you can add HTV over the top to the side. So if it's like something that's a little bit ghosting, if you know, like think about like down here or whatever, like you could potentially like add like a little word in HTV or something like that. And that is a way that you could correct it. I think it would, of course, depend. I have never successfully, I don't know if you guys have, I have never successfully reheated a sublimation design to the point of getting it to actually remove from the blank. No. And so I know like it feels like that's a threat, right? Like that you're like so careful, oh, don't get it hot again. Like you can and you can to the point where it might transfer to something else, but I don't think that you're ever going to be able to get it to the point where it's gone and you can start over.
Especially on a soft blank, it's just embedded in those fibers. I don't know bleach or anything. I haven't tried any of those sorts of things, but
so I was going to say, since it's a hat, you could add a patch over the top of what you sublimated and sublimate the patch with the design. So you could save them that way, or add like a glitter HTV circle, a glitter HTV that would sublimate, and then you could sublimate on that circle or something like that. That's was two other options I thought of.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is just like, how is it ruined would be the because there are options, which is great. I also highly recommend having multiple blanks. Like it's going to happen, especially your first time trying a blank. And so I personally wouldn't buy just one hat and be like, I'm doing it. Like obviously buy one hat. If it turns out perfect the first time, great. Return the other one, save it for another project or whatever. But if it doesn't, then I don't know about you guys. I am such a late night crafter that if I mess something up, going to the store and replacing it is not really an option. And so, so I would be like just sitting there not being able to finish the project.
Angie and I are not late night crafters, but we are far away from town crafters.
Same.
So
I have that issue too.
Hard for us to go into town.
Yeah. So, okay. Somebody's talking about a print then cut, it looks like. I'm not sure that's.
I don't know if that's a question.
Yeah, I think she's just saying that.
Yeah, just sharing what she did.
But do you prefer sublimation or HTV?
Depends, baby, on the project.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on what, like, is your blank something that you can do sublimation on? Do you already own a sublimation printer? You know, like if I didn't have a sublimation, I didn't have a sublimation printer for a long time. And so I just did HTV, hence this cute little hat here, because I didn't have a sublimation printer then. I really do like sublimation because I love that I don't have to worry about if the hat gets wet, if it gets like kind of crumpled and stuff, like HTV can lift in those situations. But also there's infusible ink. And so if you have a Cricut machine and you don't have a sublimation printer, you can, I mean, you're not going to get something like this, but you could definitely get this with a infusible ink and have a fun design like that's, so I think there's options. You can't beat the longevity of sublimation. It's just what it comes down to.
I think if you also, maybe if you have a black hat,
yeah,
sublimation's going to do you no good. So that's an HTV situation.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
Yep.
So.
Okay, I think that's it.
Awesome.
All right. So all the images we used today, and if you want to see like Jenn's full video on sublimation hats, it's in Sublimation Camp. If you have your all access pass, just log in. You can get the images we used. If you have any questions, help@sublimationcamp.com and we will help you out. If you can't get into your all access pass, can't find the images we used, our help desk is there to help you. And if you don't have your all access pass, you can get it. QR code's in the corner if you want to scan that, or you can go to sublimationcamp.com and use the coupon code GetCrafty3, $20 off the all access pass. And you have access through next year, at least May 2025. There's more information coming, but at least
at least that far. At least that. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. Yes.
Get it now. You might have it for a minute.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any more questions, you can leave those on any of our YouTube channels. We'll answer them. You can also email us at help@sublimationcamp.com. And we will see you for our next crafty challenge, which will be sometime at the end of next month.
It's the last Tuesday of the month. So whatever that is.
Yeah. And I could not tell you off the top of my head what it is.
Yeah.
It is the 27th.
Okay.
27th.
We're doing craft unique sublimation items with Anne.
Oh, that's right.
Some supplies. So I remember that.
We'll be sending out an email with all the supplies you need. So if you're not on our email list for our crafting camps, which just encompasses everything that Angie and I do together, there should be a link to sign up for that email list down in the description of all of our videos. So make sure you're on that because we're also sending out all the other cool stuff that we're doing aside from just Sublimation Camp.
All right. And if you want to join us Thursday, it's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Again, we'll be live on all 3 of our YouTube channels again.
Again.
Week of Jen.
It's Crafting for Profit Live. So we'll see.